Hello everyone. Welcome to this tutorial about scoring the goal tree, my favorite logic tool. In this video, I'll share examples how to assign colors, explaining why it is strongly recommended to use present tense when verbalizing the entities in the goal tree, and why we can have exceptions in the color coding rules. I am Christian Homan, consultant, author, blogger, and YouTuber. I presume that you already know what a goal tree is and that you have watched several of my videos on this subject. If not, I invite you to watch at least the episode titled Introduction to the Goal Tree for people in a hurry, as well as how far are you from achieving your goal? How green is your goal tree? The links are shared in the description of this video. A quick memory jogger. A goal tree is made of an array of entities. Entities are those round corner boxes that hold a statement. In the goal tree, you have three types of entities. The goal on top, which is unique. Then 3 to 5 critical success factors located directly beneath the goal, and the tree structure array of prerequisite or necessary conditions. The critical success factors are nothing else than necessary conditions with a spatial status. They are the very last milestones before achieving the goal, and conveniently serve as a simplified, high-level dashboard for monitoring the progress towards achieving the goal. Once built and scrutinized, the logic sound goal tree is a roadmap to achieve the goal, as well as a communication tool, a work breakdown structure for managing the journey as a project, and a benchmark. In order to check how far the organization is from achieving its goal, I strongly recommend to use the three color code, red, amber, and green, as presented in the previous episodes on my YouTube channel. Very quickly, red means that the necessary condition we assess is missing or failing. Amber means that the required condition is unstable or variable. Green means that the condition is met and steadily performing. That's good news. That's no worry. We can focus on greening the ambers and reds. In order to assess the current situation and color the tree, start from the bottom and with the assessors, read each entity aloud. For instance, entity 55 states we analyze the problems until identifying the root causes. At the moment of this assessment, this statement is not always true. The root cause analysis process is mainly used for important problems and not systematically. The entity therefore turns amber. Entity 56 states we foster error proofing and use of foolproofing devices like propagation. At the moment of this assessment, this statement is false. This earns it a solid red color. Entity 58 states execution is based on mastered internal instructions, which is not true, therefore it turns red. This red color propagates upwards to the entity 57 according to the rule of worst colors go up. As the proposed worst color propagation rule faced exceptions, this rule is not absolute, but rather a rule of thumb or a guideline to the entity's assessment. Here is such an exception. Entity 61 requires both 55 and 56 to be in place and mastered to be achieved. However, as the goal tree is based on necessity logic and not sufficiency logic, if the true prerequisites were green, it would not automatically turn entity 61 green. Conversely, entity 56 being red does not in real life make entity 61 non-existent or failing. In other words, there are no foolproofing devices installed and root cause analysis isn't systematic. However, efforts to reduce non-conformances are made. They may be somewhat sporadic, inconsistent, but they exist. Therefore, in real life, entity 61 is assessed as amber and not red. Even so, my rule of color suggests it should take over the worst color from the underlying necessary condition, that is, the red from entity 56. Going up, entity number 52 takes over the red from its prerequisite, which is entity 57. Mastering the processes is critical to quality. Therefore, we can make no exception for entity 52. Even so, the other prerequisites are partially in place. An important remark here, the use of present tense to verbalize the entity helps their assessment. For instance, when reading aloud the entity 56, we foster error proofing and use of foolproof devices like Pokayoki. The audience can immediately react according to the degree of accuracy or truth. Some may laugh, which is usually a sign that what is stated is far from being true yet. Some may be more in control and explain that this is not the case yet. If it is not even partially true, it's a red. Second example is entity 55. It reads, we analyze, these are the issues and problems, until identifying the root causes. Some may say, well, yes, but not systematically, or only for important issues. So this is not always true and therefore scores amber. A final example is entity number 50. When it is read aloud, we master the standards applicable to a given line of products. If the people agree without reservations, this is most likely a green. Using present tense simplifies and unifies the verbalization, but most importantly, helps to assess the prerequisite, also called necessary conditions. I do hope the content of this episode was interesting and carried some value. If so, give it a thumb up, share it with anyone who could be interested. Thank you for watching.